It's the resurrection, the Tinshai of the Mashiach Yahushua, of the Messiah Yahushua. Command. Now here's what the command is, according to Leviticus, the scripture, which is 23 verses 9 to 14, which speaks of the YOM HA-BIKKURIM. And what you'll note is interesting in the scripture, because in Leviticus chapter 23, it actually goes through each of the 7 holy feasts and festivals of Yahweh Eloheinu, is that there is 5 verses for this particular Moedim, and yet this one is not kept by modern Judaism. But as a command, we are to wave a barley loaf, or more, even a more literal sense, a sheaf, you understand, before Yahweh. We're to wave a sheaf before Yahweh. Scripture, Leviticus 23, 9 to 14. A little note on that word sheaf right there. You have to check out the Cannabis matrix, Kanehbosem. This is one reason why the Exodus becomes very imperative on us, but this is the key. You know what I'm saying? This is the key. The Moedim Ha-ELohim and Passover is the key to Exodus. Passover is the key to Exodus. Remember, you know what I'm saying, that I'm reminding you of this. Passover is the key to Exodus. And I'm speaking to the Beta Israel and the faithful Gentiles who have separated themselves, you understand, to Augustus, the God and Father of H.I.M. The gift of the Ruach is trust, is faith. So as a community, the gift that we receive, and even as individuals, is that trust and that amen and that faith. You understand? If you don't keep this, you get a amen. You understand? But if you keep this, the gift of the Ruach of the manifest is trust and faith. This is very important individually as well as within the community sense. You know, people say, oh, we need to unite, we need to get together. You understand? Well, the scriptures teach that the only unity, while the whole world falls more and more into mystery Babylon, the only unity is in H.I.M Jesus Christos. So all who are in H.I.M Jesus Christos in spirit and truth, there's unity because there's trust and there's faith. You understand? But that's the gift of the Ruach. The fruit of the Ruach is Salam. And this is why, if you look at the Middle East situation, there is no Salam. But once again, modern Judaism does not keep the YOM HA-BIKKURIM. This is a serious point to make, as well as a question to the validity of so-called modern day Judaism. You know what I'm saying? Keeping Pesach, Passover, keeping Ha-ELohim, or the Kita Injera Ba'al, but not keeping Yebekurat Nedo, not keeping Yom HA-BIKKURIM, not keeping the day of FirstFruits, which also means, by etymological relation, the day of the firstborn. The first day of the week, Ehud, Sunday, the first day, because Senbet, the Sabbath, is the 7th, so therefore Sunday is the first day of the week, which follows FASIKA. So when people say, well, the early Christians, you know, they gathered on Sunday, and they try to associate this with those who worship the sun, you understand, or the stars, or the elements, you understand? It's a logical fallacy right there, because you have to overstand that our way and their way is as different as light and night, or day and night. So we're going to touch on this a little bit more, but remember, April 9th to April 19th is the holy season, and it begins with Pesach, Passover, in the former rain, the spring feast and festival season, which usually occurs in the months of April and June, according to the 14th day of the first month of Abib or Nisan, and it signifies the feast of our freedom, Pesach, Passover, FASIKA. Then comes the 7 days, you know what I'm saying, this year from April 10th to April 17th, which is Ha-ELohim, or the Feast of Unleavened Bread, Yekita Injera Ba'al, from the 10th to the 17th, and this is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, where it's commanded to eat no leaven for 7 days. To eat unleavened bread 7 days. The first and the last day do no wage work, because the first and the last day is a Senbet, is a Shabbat, is a Sabbath day. Now here's what's interesting, in a sense, whether people talk about 3 days and 3 nights, but they get it erroneously, because you have to remember that these are movable. That's why we have to be in time, it's alignment. These are movable feasts. You see, within pseudo-Christianity and false Christianities, Eurocentric, romantic, and so forth and so on, what they did is they try to make it a fixed time. They say, well, he died on Friday, but then they can't count 3 days, but then they make themselves believe that they counted 3 days. But then when you look in the Bible, it speaks about Sabbath, the beginning. It speaks in a little cryptologic language to one to a non-Hebrew, because of the Hebrew, you'll recognize that if the first and the last day during the Ha-ELohim, the B'Av, are holy days, no wage work, they're basically Shabbat, they're basically Senbet days. So then you have a Sabbath. Now let's look at this year. We have April 9th, right? April 9th, FASIKA, Pesach. You understand? Then April 10th to April 17th is the B'Av, or the unleavened injera. You understand? The unleavened bread. Now the first day, you understand, is holy, and then the last day is holy. But now, according to this year, if I'm correct, the first and last day ends. The last day ends on let's see, this Thursday for the 9th, right? Thursday is the 9th, April 9th, Passover, FASIKA. Then you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you have Thursday. So that means that Thursday would be a Shabbat, or would be a Sunday, right? Then you have Friday, and then you have Saturday, which is also the weekly Sunday. And that's similar to what happens when you study the Bible for the crucifixion and the time of the burial and what the witnesses said. And some say, well, this don't make no sense. How come it's not 3 days and 3 nights? They're not understanding the language that's being used. There's weekly Senbet, and there are Senbets for the Moedim Ha-ELohim during that time, where the first and the last day is no wage work and is holy, meaning the Shabbat, to cease and desist from work, a Senbet, a Senebete, you understand, from work. We'll touch on that a little bit more, but that's very interesting. And on the 19th, which is Sunday, the first day of the week, which follows FASIKA, we have YOM HA-BIKKURIM, the CHAG, and you understand, which is the day of the FirstFruits, the firstborn of the harvest, or the FirstFruits of the barley harvest. So give thanks and praise for listening, and I'm sure that some would have more questions about this. And as we're beginning to get into some of these details more on the groups, we ask ones-on-ones to, put it on the pages of the groups, sign in the groups, and we'll get into a little more detail there. And also we'll have some audios, in a sense, some audio teaching CDs available, even to post it up on perhaps the group site would probably be a good site to post it up there, so you can download it to your iPod and to study these. And let us, each one teach one if they have a teaching, each one support one if they can support, each one pray for one if they know how to pray. So give thanks and praises. Shalom.
successors in George's cathedral, drawing strength from heaven and the emperor as the invading armies drove people into Ethiopia. For the last time, the emperor led a procession around the Coptic church, part of an ancient Christian tradition threatened by Rome.
It's the resurrection, the Tinshai of the Mashiach Yahoshua, of the Messiah Yahoshua. Command. Now here's what the command is. According to Leviticus, the scripture which is 23 verses 9 to 14, which speaks of the YOM HA-BIKKURIM. And what you'll note is interesting in the scripture, because in Leviticus chapter 23, it actually goes through each of the 7 holy feasts and festivals of Yahweh Elohim, is that there is 5 verses for this particular Moedim, and yet this one is not kept by modern Judaism. But as a command, we are to wave a barley loaf, or more, in even a more literal sense, a sheaf. You understand? Before Yahweh. We're to wave a sheaf before Yahweh. Scripture, Leviticus 23, 9 to 14. A little note on that word.